Go to our next question. We'll start with Mayor Bailey. Riverside's mayor has little political or policy-making power, but can be influential in other ways. What is your leadership style, and how would you use it to achieve your goals for the city? Mr. Bailey.
Well, I mean, I would disagree. Politics are influencing the government, right? And so the mayor does have the pulpit to be able to influence the public, as well as, and is the only elected official across the entire city, as well as his colleagues, or her colleagues on the council. And I think that I've done that in an appropriate way. Of course, the Brown Act, as referenced by Councilman Davis, does not allow you to talk to more than a majority of a body, which I haven't done. And so I use my persuasive powers and my background experience, knowledge, skills, and abilities to persuade council members from time to time towards a policy that I believe in. And that's fiber cable in Riverside is one of those policies that I presented from the mayor's office to the council, and they appreciated that. They approved that, and now we are lighting up our dark fiber in Riverside. It started at the Excite Incubator with a $75,000 commitment, thanks to the council, but that was a project that I brought to the table, and I think will serve the city well in the long run.
Ms. Melendez.
I would describe my leadership style as collaborative. I would like to see all folks come to the table when an issue is being discussed. All voices need to be heard, all opinions need to be respected. I think when people come together and talk to one another, even though you have a set agenda from a certain perspective, if you hear others and you can then say, well, you know, that sounds good to me, maybe I can live with that. So we can come together and we can collaborate. Collaboration is essential, especially if the mayor's office is going to be the conduit that it should be from the community to the council and from the council to the community.
Ms. Moreno.
Yes, my leadership style would be one of honesty, integrity back in that office. And I would absolutely start connecting the public in city policies, which there has been a huge disconnect that has been going on there. And Mr. Bailey mentioned this dark fiber, and one thing that I don't know if Mr. Bailey realizes is that if we are paying for that dark fiber through public utilities, that is against the law, and there will be a challenge to that.
Mr. Bailey, are you aware of the allegation made by Ms. Moreno?
No, but I've heard it before, so I'm assuming that the pattern of suing the city will continue. We had another lawsuit from Councilman Davis's political camp just yesterday filed, and so I think this trend will continue, unfortunately.
That is not Mr. Davis's political camp.
Richard Holguin?
You mean the $115 million lawsuit? That is not Mr.
That's an individual that works on
but
his
that is
campaign
not.
staff.
Why don't we get Mr.
Paul
Davis to
Davis's
answer this
camp.
question? Mr. Davis, is the lawsuit which Mayor Bailey references filed by someone in your camp?
Well, we don't have someone in my camp. Richard Holguin is a friend. He is also a person who helps on the campaign, absolutely. And if he felt that there was a problem and he did not get the appropriate attention or responses that was within his purview to understand, he has every right as a citizen to do what he feels is necessary.
What do you make of the lawsuit he's filed, of which I am not aware?
Well, I think it's rather interesting. It is a bit confusing and very technical. I have studied it. I have reached out to two people I know in the legal world who has more expertise than I do, and I'll have some responses for that here within the next week.
Were you aware that Mr. Holguin was going to file the lawsuit?
I was not aware.
Are you in support of the lawsuit?
I am in support of any citizen who believes that they have to go to those extents to be able to get answers and resolutions to the problems they have or perceive that there is within the city.
Are you in support of this lawsuit?
On the context and the basis, yes.
And what does this lawsuit allege?
The alleged of the lawsuit is that through our general fund transfer, based on what I read, that the monies that we received from the grid services by use of our lines, we have several hundred miles of electrical lines that the citizens of Riverside own. In order for us to be able to participate in the ISO, it gets pretty technical. The ISO then pays the public utility a certain amount of money annually. It amounts to nearly $30 million. It began, I believe, in 2009, according to the lawsuit. That money is then brought into the public utilities, and what they were doing is they were parking it into a reserve account rather than bringing it forward to the council in order for us to delineate exactly how we're going to use it.
If there was, in fact, an error, would it have been an error of the mayor's office, the city council's office, or RPU?
Actually, it would have been an error on the RPU and the RPU board for failing to bring it to the council for proper vetting and appropriate placement.
Okay, thank you so much. I'd like to now turn
I
to
can
Ms.
answer that.
We're going to continue if we may.
Okay.